What could possibly turn a seemingly ordinary night into a chilling crime scene in the remote desert area of San Bernardino? The answer lies in the fateful call made to 911 on January 23rd by a 22-year-old man, Franklin Noel Bonilla. With a shaky voice and fading strength, he reported that he had been shot. However, the exact location remained elusive, lost in the vast expanse of the desert. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, aided by the California Highway Patrol's Aviation Division, traced the call to an intersection near Lessing Avenue and Shadow Mountain Road. The remoteness of the area posed a significant challenge, turning a routine response into a desperate race against time. What they found upon their arrival was nothing short of horrifying. Laid out in the desolate landscape were 6 men, lifeless, their bodies bearing the brutal marks of gunshot wounds. Among them was 34-year-old Baldemar Mondragon Albaran, 25-year-old Kevin Bonilla, and a still unnamed 45-year-old Hispanic male. 2 other Hispanic males were also part of this grim tableau, their identities yet to be revealed. Not far from this gruesome spectacle, they found Franklin Bonilla, the caller, his life tragically cut short. The grim details didn't stop there. 4 of the victims bore another horrifying detail: they had been partially burned. This additional act of violence, seemingly calculated and cold, added another layer of shock and horror to an already tragic scene. In just a few hours, what was once a remote and tranquil desert area had transformed into a chilling crime scene. The quiet of the night was shattered by the echoes of gunshots, the flicker of a merciless flame, and the cruel aftermath of a deadly encounter. The circumstances surrounding their deaths were as remote as the desert itself, shrouded in mystery and unanswered questions. But even in the face of such a shocking incident, one thing was certain: the silence of the desert would not last. In the wake of this shocking incident, the silence of the desert was soon replaced by the relentless pursuit of justice. As the sun rose on a new day, so did the efforts of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department to solve this horrific crime. In less than a week following the grisly discovery, the wheels of justice began to turn. 5 men found themselves under the unforgiving spotlight of the law. These were not just any men, but suspects in a chilling murder that had shaken the community to its core. Arrested on suspicion of murder were Toniel Baez Duarte, age 34, Mateo Baez Duarte, only 24, Jose Nicolas Hernandez Sarabia, and Jose Gregorio Hernandez Sarabia, both 33, and finally, Jose Manuel Burgos Parra, age 26. The alleged motive for this gruesome act? A marijuana transaction. A seemingly innocuous meeting arranged between the victims and the suspects, which spiraled into a deadly altercation. A transaction that was supposed to be quick and simple, transformed into a bloodbath that left 6 men dead in a remote desert area. But why? That question remained unanswered, the truth buried deep within the layers of this complex case. As the investigation progressed, detectives made some significant discoveries. Multiple firearms were seized, each one a chilling reminder of the violence that had unfolded. But it wasn't just the firearms that caught the attention of the detectives. Additional evidence was also found, pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that were gradually coming together to form a grim picture of what had transpired. Every piece of evidence was a step closer to understanding the what, the how, and most importantly, the why behind this heinous crime. And so, with the suspects in custody, the gears of the investigation shifted. It was no longer just about identifying who was responsible, it was about understanding why. Why did a seemingly straightforward marijuana transaction turn deadly? Why were 6 men left dead in a remote desert area? The answers to these questions were not clear, but the resolve of the detectives was. With the suspects in custody, the focus shifted to understanding the why behind this heinous act. As the investigation deepens, what could possibly be the reason behind such a savage act of violence? In the search for the motive behind the shootings, every piece of evidence could be a clue to the puzzle. The scene, a remote desert area, was littered with remnants of the massacre that took place. There were 2 vehicles found at the scene, a Dodge Caravan and a Chevrolet Trailblazer. A chilling reminder of the brutality of the incident was the discovery of one of the victims, lifeless inside the Trailblazer. Sergeant Michael Warwick, a man who has seen his share of crime scenes, was leading the investigation. He expressed confidence in the arrests made, firmly believing they had the perpetrators of this heinous crime in custody. However, One aspect of the case he couldn't comment on was whether or not the crime was cartel-related. It's a possibility that can't be ruled out entirely, given the circumstances surrounding the case, but without solid evidence, it remains just that, a possibility. The motive behind the shootings is still under intense scrutiny. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department revealed that the victims had arranged to meet at the location for a marijuana transaction. Was this a deal gone wrong, or perhaps something more sinister? It's a question that detectives are still grappling with. A multitude of firearms and additional evidence were seized from the scene, each item a potential key to unlocking the truth behind this brutal act of violence. As the detectives piece together the events of that fateful night, they continue to delve into the lives of the victims and the suspects, hoping to unearth the motive behind the killings. Despite the progress made in the investigation, the motive behind these ruthless shootings remains an enigma. The victims met their end in a remote desert area, and it seems that the reason for their demise remains as elusive as the desolate landscape where they drew their last breaths. Despite having the suspects in hand, the true motive remains shrouded in uncertainty. Could the remote and desolate desert be a cloak for an underground world of crime? The area where the shootings occurred, according to Sheriff Shannon Dykes, is notorious for drug-related activity. The silent, sprawling desert, it seems, is not as innocent as it appears. Over the past year, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department has been particularly active. Their marijuana enforcement team has executed an astonishing 411 search warrants for illegal grow operations. The scale of these operations is staggering. In a single year, they confiscated 655,000 marijuana plants and 74,000 pounds of processed weed. In monetary terms, the seized drugs represent a mind-boggling $370 million. This immense criminal activity, hidden beneath the surface of the quiet desert, casts a sinister shadow over the isolated landscape. As the investigation continues, the remote desert of San Bernardino becomes a symbol of a deadly clash in the underworld of drug activity.